Maybe we should have just been talking about all this live, you know?
Right.
I
This
know,
will be
right?
good live content. Yeah.
Anyway, welcome everybody to a brand new episode of Before the Cape. We have been talking about a whole bunch of random stuff backstage and then realized, oh shit, it's 5 minutes past, so maybe we should actually get to talk about Smallville. So let's do that after this intro.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right, welcome to the Dingus Den, everybody. If you're joining us live, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, or even if you're joining us on the replay. I always appreciate all the support that you all have given us throughout these episodes. And this week, we are here to talk about the episodes Nocturne and Redux. I assume that's how you say that. Anyway,
Yes.
So that is what we are doing here tonight. There's usually 3 of us. We're down a man as Ian pulled out kind of last minute. Hope everything's all good with him.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just some weekends are busier than others.
He doesn't
I
like
completely
us.
understand. Or he just doesn't like us. We can always deal with that.
Off.
You needed a week off of being like, they're going to bug me about saying the episodes of fruit.
I was gonna say now we won't know what
I know, right? We're gonna have to figure that out. We should have asked them ahead of time what just fruits were. Oh no.
Well, we can find out next week. That's
your next week.
You for the audience to watch next week.
Watch next week. Figure out what fruit these episodes are, since that's Ian's specialty, is figuring out what the fruits are of each episode is. And so that's so funny. So yeah, we will get into talk about Smallville here in a moment. But first, before we do get into all that Smallville talk, I want to invite everybody to let you all know that tomorrow the Comic Den will be live. In case you missed it, me and Steve are bringing back our podcast that we used to do over the summer. Well, kind of like early last year into the summer, and then it ended. Our last episode was right before we went to Rebel ScumCon, and then it was just kind of like the timing afterwards. We were kind of like, okay, maybe it's not best for us because of each of us having school commitments and life stuff come up in general. So that's what made me pivot to doing more videos that I've actually been, for the most part, other than a couple weeks here and there, I've been pretty consistent with. Other than that, though,
yeah.
But point is, though, we brought back the Comic Den. We decided to do the first one as like a pre-recorded because it kind of just worked out better timing, because we wanted to go ahead and get something done, but the live timing didn't really work out to do it on last week. And so we were like, all right, we pre-recorded an episode, and that's where we talked about, and you can go find it as the most recently released video, and that is where we talked about the Marvel comic event called Blood Hunt. It's a story about vampires all in the Marvel universe. So if you're a vampire fan, you might find that interesting. We just talk about the main event itself mainly. I since then have gone through and read some of the I've since read some of the tie-ins and stuff for it, but yeah. So go check that out. And then tomorrow we are going to be live talking about there's been a bunch of news that's going on. For anybody that doesn't know, there's an event that happens. Is it Thursday through Saturday? Something like that. It's this closed comic event called Comics Pro that's been happening. It's an event, I say closed because it's not like New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con where anybody can go. It's closed because it's specifically for retailers, so that's where you get a bunch of technical jargon talk. You get a bunch of writers there, and well-known comic creators there. There's always a bunch of stuff that happens there. Anyway, there's been a bunch of news, some stuff that's come out that I'm really excited to talk about. And so instead of reviewing a story arc tomorrow, me and Steve will be live to talk about a bunch of the news that have come out from Comics Pro specifically. A couple of the bits are also because of solicitations. Although I'm pretty sure they released a solicitation just to kind of coincide with all the Comics Pro stuff going on. But point is, there's been some big comic announcements that I'm really excited for. So definitely make sure to go check all that stuff out tomorrow when we will be live at 6 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Central. And yeah, all that. So
nice.
Before we get into talking about these episodes, I have a couple things I want to bring up. One of them is about an episode that Jordan is in the chat from Soups and Sabers, who joined us on our finale. He mentioned saying, not sure if this will come up or if you two knew this. I certainly did not know this, but Redux was filmed after the finale of season 1 and held until now, which is why it may feel odd for continuity.
You know what? That is a good point, because I know we'll get into the episodes, but there were some things where I was like, this seems a bit different than what season 2 had started with. Not that it's a bad episode, but yeah.
Yeah. We also got a new chat, which I'm not sure completely what to make sure of this. I'm saying, what's your pronouns? I assume you're just trying to be polite, which I appreciate.
Hey, there's a first time for everything, I guess.
I was going to say, right? But we're here to talk about Smallville. Actually, I did want to bring up something else as well. Is I started reading through Action Comics 23. Actually, I have it right behind me here. Because I was wanting to mention something random to you, Andrew. Is that I started reading through. This is one of those special facsimile editions, which is these really shiny versions. And what they do is they'll sometimes reprint these very iconic issues. So this is Action Comics 23. When I bought this at the time, I did not know the significance of the issue, other than that it was just part of a special. I bought it from the event when my comic store does everything on the walls $1. So since this was like $10, I was like, yes, I'll go for it. Especially since it's a classic issue that obviously, even though I didn't know what its significance was, yes, I had to buy it, right?
Yeah.
You can't say no to $1. When there's dollar comics, it's like drugs. You can't stop.
Right. It's like me with movies. When I see dollar movies, I'm like,
yeah, exactly. And what's really cool about these too is, like, do you know, like, older comics has like newspaper quality to it?
Yeah, that's what I've always liked about them.
They have these, like, it actually uses like the newspaper print quality, and everything is like authentic to what it was, like the old ads and stuff in them. So it's really cool. Like, everything's like it was, other than the shiny cover, which even then, like, the back ads are like recreated for whatever it was, which you can't really see because of how shiny my stuff there. But you get the point there, which is really cool. Anyway, I read the Superman story. I haven't finished this yet. I've just been working through the rest of the main bits of this, or other stuff of it. But the main Superman story, why this is a key issue, was that this is actually the first appearance ever of Lex Luthor. Was in Action Comics 23.
Wow.
And what's really interesting about this is that it has a big connection to how Lex Luthor is portrayed, or what he's doing in the new Superman movie, which is really interesting, because Lex Luthor in this comic, it's about him manipulating two sides of a war that's going on. And neither of the two nations are the same as what it was in the movie. But I just find it interesting. Oh, the first time we see James Gunn's, Lex Luthor, as well as what actually originally happened with him, was very much the same idea, plot lines, as far as what he was actually doing, which is really interesting. And then I remembered I mentioned to you too, in, like, what was it, second ever issue of Action Comics, where they mentioned the main Barovia, when they actually name drop Barovia, which is fascinating. So it's really interesting to see how James Gunn has taken certain aspects from, like, there's a lot of aspects of this classic Superman that does not stand up in the grand scheme of, like, Superman, like, lore, you could say, and stuff. Interesting, but it's just cool to see.
It shows that he's a comic fan, because he's going back to, like,
incorporating elements into it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I really like that. And so I've just been finding more and more references as I've been, like, as I've been going back and reading these old comics, and not just for necessarily Superman, but like his other DC work as well. It's just really cool to see how much of a fan he is. So anyway, that was just a side note that since I read it today, I'm like, oh, I should mention that on our Smallville show, since same characters and stuff. So very cool. Anyway, let's get into these episodes. Overall thoughts before we delve deep into them. I thought they were both, like, solid episodes. Neither of them really blew me away. I would say I enjoyed the Nocturne a little more than Redux, but, like, they were both, I think, solid, but neither of them were necessarily standout episodes to me. But not to say that they were bad. I still think they were solid, though.
No, I agree completely. They're like they would be on like the lower end of what we've gotten so far, but even then, that's not bad. That just says how good the rest of the show has been.
Sure.
Because they were still enjoyable. You know, I think some
Yeah.
of the plot line, especially was it not? It was Nocturne with the kid that had been experimented on, Byron. I thought until we found out what actually happened to him, I thought some of the early buildup was a little kind of just like it could have taken him out of the episode and it would have been fine until we got like the reveal at the towards the end. But yeah, I thought that they were overall, you know, they were decent episodes. They were good. So yeah.
Yeah, they were definitely solid episodes. I realized I didn't pull up the episode for us here, so I'm gonna do that so we can go through it here. But yeah, I completely agree. I think though there is.
Mhm.
I Nocturne definitely intrigued me more though overall too, because I was very curious of like what was going on the entire time.
Mhm.
And I appreciated like its sort of like mid twist and the kind of shift as far as what was going on, because
Yes, that one was a little bit
I
better.
think it did a good job of kind of a better job, I guess, at like a not a misdirect, but like you didn't really know what was happening until and then it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was definitely interesting.
And it wasn't even like it wasn't even I wouldn't even call it like a freak of the week or villain of the week either. The next one, Redo definitely is a villain of the week or freak of the week, but this one uh, okay, maybe 5 minutes you could call it like a freak of the week, but the Byron doesn't have ill intentions, you know.
Right.
He's not using what you know, it's not like he's using what happened to him for bad things.
Yeah,
Outside of the brief part towards the end, but I'll save that for when we get to that point of the episode.
fair. But yeah, we do get though right off the bat though this stuff with Lana and visiting her parents' grave, which is important plot point. I like that we got to see this aspect of Lana as well, as we know that she hasn't been with her parents. Like we've known, her parents passed through.
Yeah.
Like we've known that since the get go, since the premiere. So like. And there's been couple instances in the show where like we can see her like missing and trying to figure out, kind of how she fits in without living with
Mhm.
her real parents. Um, but here we got to actually like see some really personal moments with her. I think that's actually something that's a really big highlight of this episode specifically, is we did get to see that side of her that we never really like got to see before. And so I
Yeah.
do appreciate that aspect of the episode. I think it was this episode too that has the big. Was it this episode that's a big thing involved, or is it?
Um, I
See, I
believe
watched
it
these two
yes.
episodes back to back, so I don't remember which
I know
one
I
it
did
is.
too. I believe it's this one that
This is
has
a kind of, I think it
the
is, yeah.
reveal. But also too, I think this is the first time we've seen her at the cemetery just by herself, because usually she's like with Whitney or Clark or something else. Now, I probably wouldn't be going this late at night. I know it's Smallville, but you never know who's going to be out and about. Um, and then, but it was good. I like that we're kind of getting to the point where we're having a little bit, like you said, more personal moments with Lana. She's not just like the love interest
No,
of
it
Clark.
was the next one as the reveal, and I
Really,
wonder if that's part of the reason why they held it.
that's a good point because I
Because
could have
I think
sworn it was
I
this
do.
episode.
I was about to say I was about to say
Yeah,
yeah, because narratively it kind of would have made sense with her, you know, doing things, and we'll get to that reveal.
yeah,
But I do wonder if that's the big reason why they kind of like held off of it though, since I think if
hmm
this other episode that was, as Jordan was saying, was filmed after the finale of season one and held until now, I wonder if that's part of the reason of they're just like it's an episode that can kind of slide in wherever. So
yeah. It definitely because it's not like there's a lot of big story changing things that really happen to where yeah you could put it here and it's fine. Um,
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but this kid Byron, he not the best living scenarios. And at first, you just think his parents are awful. Like they keep their kid in a dungeon essentially,
Yeah, right.
and like
The
his
weird
father's
shit.
threatening him, and but I wonder like how did he know like Lana prior to this? Because I don't think he mentioned unless he went to school before the incident. Um, is the
Well,
only thing I
hold
can
on.
think
They
of.
said that he's been there for 8 years.
Yeah, and if they're, let's say, fresh sophomores in high school, they're what, like 15, 16,
So that would have put them
probably?
back in like what, elementary school at some point,
Yeah, they
right?
would have been like 8 or
Well, it's
9.
extremely I think there's two different avenues, and both of these could be
Mhm,
true in some degree that we just don't know. The first one is,
mhm.
yes, there's a route you're thinking of, which I didn't think of as much, of where, yes, he could have known, it's Smallville, so like all the classes that you're going to be with are going to be the same, right?
Yeah,
So, especially, I would imagine with the certain developments of the town that it's also grew more over years. So it's like he definitely may have known a younger Lana and just liked her ever
true.
since then, right?
Yeah,
Um, and have known of her. The other aspect, though, that I think is probably the puzzle piece that makes it make more sense
mhm,
is, well, he's obviously uh he's escaped obviously a lot before in the past to go out at night, and I guess he just
mhm.
lives right near the cemetery. So in that case, he probably has seen Lana a lot there, but doesn't want to obviously connect with anybody because he doesn't want
Right.
to hurt anybody. So
That's a good point. Yeah, because I was just wondering how he would've, because I don't think if I remember correctly, I don't think they knew his name when they first saw him until he said it or something like that. I can't remember, but,
yeah, they're very much just like, "Hey, who are you? Tell me about you." Once they
yeah, but of
encounter
course,
each
if
other.
they haven't you don't see someone for 8 years and you grow a lot, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, we don't know exactly, where his past, which yeah, I
Yeah,
don't.
and I know it's hard when you have, like, a villain of the week or a freak of the week, it's hard to always go deep into their backstory. Like,
Yeah,
we got some for him, and it made it enjoyable, but I know the episodes are only so long, and you have other plot lines to go to, so, um
indeed. But
and Lana
this
is still cold with Clark, because there's that interaction at the torch with
I
the
do remember
woman.
thinking specifically, I was like, "Oh, you know what, Lana? Good on you this episode of being like, pushing back against Clark's, you know, and this way it kind of is like
Mhm.
almost like some double standards, I guess, kind of like Clark was trying to, he was saying things and Lana was like, "Yeah, it would be great if people was like completely honest with me." I don't
Right.
remember if it is this or next episode, but there's that one moment where she was like,
Mhm.
yeah, it would be great to fully trust somebody, and that means that they can't hide anything from the
Mhm.
other person. I was like, yeah, it's true. Um, and then I also don't remember which episode it was too, but she was also, I think it was this one where she had that comment of calling Clark the Man of Steel at one point as
Yeah,
well.
I think it was this one. Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, "Haha."
Yeah, I think it was fairly like early on.
Yeah, I feel like it was
I think it was in
actually,
the
I think it was this scene that you
I
had
think it
pulled up.
was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was right here when they were talking, and it was like, "Yeah, it'd be great if, everyone was if you opened up and everything."
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, she definitely has some really good moments in this episode, though.
yeah,
So,
but I like you said, it would be very easy in like a superhero project to make the love interest like the damsel of distress or like kinda ditzy. And it's nice to see that she stands up for herself, even though she likes Clark and
mhm,
she's not with Whitney anymore. She's not just head over heels for him, you know.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, they're not getting right to
and
that relationship yet. They're making it so
yeah,
when they get to it, it's gonna feel earned than just like, yeah, they're together.
exactly. Yeah, then
So
just like, hey,
I
they're
appreciate
dating.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I do
you
too.
gotta, when you have these 20 plus episode series that we're not used to anymore, they have all these episodes that even
Yeah,
though you can call certain episodes filler, they still add to like, yeah, it's still time that passed that you all get to see,
right.
really. And so
it makes everything feel like organic and natural, authentic.
it does. It does.
Yeah.
Sometimes length of things does add to that, and so that's one thing I'll give
Yeah.
to longer series. So
And I gotta say, I loved Lionel in this episode. When he's
yeah,
talking with the guy, and the guy's like, "I promise I will never make this mistake again as long as I work for you." And he's like, "I'm gonna make sure you keep that promise." And he's like, and I was like, "Oh, this dude's fired. He's out of here."
yeah, I do like it. It's quite interesting. Yeah, and we got like this was like prevalent in both the episodes as well, but it began in this one with Martha potentially like starting to work with Lionel now, which is interesting, and
Yeah.
learning
Now, is
more
that
of
in the
Martha's
comics at all?
past.
Do you know? Not that
Uh,
it has to be. I'm just curious.
I feel like this is a new idea.
Mhm.
I don't know of anything of Martha Kent other than just her, the old
Yeah.
farmhouse woman. You know, I haven't read a bunch of the
Mhm.
Superboy stuff, and so it's an area that I'm kind of like interested in checking out sometime.
Yeah.
But no, I don't
'Cause I
know specifically if they've ever done anything with this, but I did appreciate it though because they've been
Mhm.
taking certain liberties to open up characters and also still be respectful with it. I
Yeah.
still very much felt that's what they were doing here with her
Mhm.
character though, and that's something I liked is that they were, especially with these two episodes where you got a bit more of her backstory or more to her character than
Yes,
just
that was
being
nice.
the typical Martha Kent that we got. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with when I just say the typical Martha Kent. Like the typical Martha Kent,
No, she's great.
when we say that, is like she has her great moments across any medium of Superman, right?
Yeah.
Um, or any version of Superman, blah blah blah. But
Mhm.
uh and up to this episode I feel like it's really just been a younger version of that version that we know. So I like that how here we do get
Mhm.
more of like, yeah, like this is what she did before she happened to settle down in Smallville now,
Yeah.
and
She's kind of taken
yeah,
initiative, because she even tells Jonathan that she's wanted to go back to work for a while.
yeah,
But I will say, knowing Lionel Luthor, I can't hesitate to, or I think he's got to have some kind of angle with it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, maybe he really did just hire her because he does like her, which is definitely, plausible. But just knowing he's always like one step ahead. And so I wonder if there's some kind of clause in her contract, like you quit working for me, I get your farm. Like,
yeah, maybe.
I don't
That's
know.
a good
Yeah.
question. You indeed ask a good question. I don't know, and that's definitely part of it too. I think what made it a good plot point throughout these episodes in general too. Of all the, you know, you obviously know Jonathan Kent's gonna have his pushback to it because of anything to do with the Luthers, but then also you get an interesting kind of like third side to this as well, where it's Lex is like, "Don't you be messing with these Kents," and
Right.
so it is a kind of an interesting triangle that they approach it at here. And so and
Mhm.
Clark's just in the middle as he's off doing his own quest both times as well. So like, you know, it was an interesting plot line to have through both of these episodes. And that's the other thing too, is it's really interesting that Jordan brings up how this finale, like we're talking about all these specific plot points, and in this episode, I think does in a lot of ways feel like it kind of belongs after. There is one big thing about when we get into Redux that I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, which we'll get into. But yeah,
Yeah.
so all right, Nocturne though. Yeah, I did really like this whole Martha Kent plot line throughout these episodes.
Mhm.
It was good. We get seeing more of Sayer Byron writing his letters. And then he drops someone off over to Lana. Lana wakes up, and then Clark tries to defend her.
I love
And
that didn't even like touch Byron, and Byron just like falls into a headstone.
oh, I'm hurt. Help
Yeah.
me.
I'm like, I know Clark scared you, but he didn't even touch you.
Certainly a bit
You know what?
over dramatically
It's enough.
there.
It's enough that he's met one person. Now he's met two. He's like, I can't. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Byron hurt himself. Or Clark hurt him, whatever route you want to take it.
Right.
So he goes over to the Talon. They feed him, and he starts like talking about, but then also not really saying like what was going on, other than just like he's being very secretive. Like he was just
Yeah.
saying of like, not really in the best. You could tell that he wasn't treated well, and Clark was able to notice that as well, and is like, "What's going on with you?" Seeing certain like scars from, uh, the cuffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting too.
I will say with the parents, like I understand where they're coming from. Like when it's revealed that like the son like changes, he's like a vampire, kind of like a weirdly. Well, not a vampire because the son like charges him into this like creature of himself.
Like a
But
reversed
they can
werewolf kind of.
right, but they can make his living conditions better, like more livable. Like give him something to
Yeah.
where he can like know what's going on maybe outside. Like
It's
you
one of those
know what I
things
mean?
that
Like
you can
they just I guess just make him more livable, you know?
you can still sympathize with him, but then at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there's still a problem though. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like you are still in the wrong. Like, sure, you could justify what you did, but that doesn't mean your justification is morally right though.
Right, that was the thing with the parents is like I just they could, they can make his living conditions better, you know?
Um, and
But
and we got a bit of that with the mother. The father the
yes.
whole time just kind of seemed like an asshole. And I don't remember. Did we?
Yeah,
Did
it's not Byron's fault that he ended up like this. Like
And if I remember right, like I'm trying to remember what happened here, because I might just be forgetting something. But there's this scene where, um, they try to get that they go up with they get an officer, they could tell, and so both Clark and Pete goes up with him,
Mhm.
with this officer to be like, yeah, there's something wrong here, and then the parents play it off, right?
Yeah.
And then that was also before that too. There was also, or was it after? There's also a point there too where Pete and Clark went up and like his father threatened them too. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't remember seeing the father after either of those scenes. Do you? I'm trying to,
No, I think that's the last time we see him that I don't think we see him again, funny enough. Oh yeah,
because
because
we saw the
he's
mother.
out looking for Byron. The mom mentions that, but you don't see him again.
Right. Okay. So I just
Yeah.
forgot that detail, and so it's like, okay, I find it interesting that the father wasn't really in it
Mhm.
at all
Yeah.
anymore. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's certainly interesting. Like that was something else that when the episode ended, that was one of the things that I thought of. It was like, okay, we saw what's up with the mother, but we're like, what's going on with the father? And so,
Right. Did the cop ever get the warrant, you know?
did they cover it in the Warren?
Not
Did
that it
they?
was I guess he
I don't
made it
know.
after Clark, but
And
yeah.
they definitely left it open ended too for with Byron for not potentially come back as well.
Yeah, that would be neat.
So I
I
would
will
like
say I think the best part of the episodes was the scenes with Lex and Lionel, especially
get some good looks at
when
Linus.
Lex is almost like telling Lionel like know your place. You know, he's like don't like cuz he even is suspicious of an angle that he might have with hiring, Martha Kent. Um
Yeah,
which again just adds to the whole idea of knowing that Lex eventually hates Clark, but like he wants to be friends with him now. It just is like, oh, it's tough.
yeah.
Um,
I agree. Adds some good layering to this whole story, which is definitely good.
yeah.
So, what did you think this whole Byron twist of, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it's like a reverse werewolf
Mhm.
sort of deal. Like he doesn't exactly turn to a werewolf, but he comes.
Yeah, it's like a weird I don't know how to describe it. He just turns like
It's like a feral superpower that comes up, like
right.
feral super strength that does come up
And
though.
he doesn't seem to have memory of it either. Like when he's in the hospital. That was my
Yeah,
understanding is that he doesn't it's like two personalities.
see,
But
I don't, I
I
don't
thought it was I guess because I know he got it with an experiment. in Metropolis. So my theory, obviously, that probably had kryptonite in it to some level.
I was gonna say,
Because
how
he's
long
also
did
able to push Clark. He's got strength to push Clark far.
True.
But I never felt like, and again, it's hard when you have just one episode, but there was never like the stakes of a threat because Clark was, Clark like hit him a couple times or pushed him and then got him down into the dark. There was like some storm shelter or something they fell into, and then he was back
Yeah.
to normal. And I don't know if they had to wait till night to get him to the hospital so he wouldn't change or how that worked. But
Yeah.
it was just kind of one of those, like, there's this buildup of this part of him, and then it was just done. So
It was definitely like a halfway through tonal shift of there's this one thing, and then they go back there, and it's like, oh, this is what it is. Okay.
like I said, I know it's hard to always do a big build up with every single character like that,
Yeah.
So it wasn't
And
bad. It just was like
yeah.
good.
And also, there's this whole helicopter scene that happened too, which reminded me very much of the scene from is it Winter Soldier when he does that.
Yeah.
And
This when they're like 10 feet above the ground.
yeah, he's just like holding on to it, and the effects here are funny too because it's just like you can tell that is just a product of its time with him doing that.
Yeah.
And how it like abruptly cuts to the helicopter's on its side, and the next thing you see, it's like, oh, whoop, it's fun.
Yeah, right. But again,
stuff.
like, so this is where it's a little bit confusing with him as the other self is he's obviously going after the helicopter because it's Lionel Luthor. But then when he's in the hospital, like I said, I got the impression that he doesn't have a memory of like what he does. So, but I guess as this side, he can remember.
Yeah, it's like the feral parts he doesn't really remember.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't remember stuff from his feral parts, and his feral part only knows what made him the way it is because he's so angry. So
right.
Yeah.
If only Ian was here, he could probably have
Ian!
an answer for us.
Answer for us from the void!
Yeah. Right.
Where are you? No response. Okay.
Oh, darn it.
The void didn't work. The void's not working tonight.
Darn. Well, maybe next week it will.
But
this is only I think the second or third time where the Freak of the Week was able to like take Clark in a fight. Because there was one early on in the show, like the second or third episode, where he could throw Clark around a bit. But it's not common.
It's true. Also funny how there was just like a well or sewer or whatever.
Right, that's what I was saying. Like they're just like
very
in the woods,
and just like, oh yeah, you're there.
Boy.
And then Clark like holds him off there, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then what did Clark put his jacket over him to keep him from the sun, or did they wait there till night?
I assume
so
they
could
just
get him to the hospital.
This is the thing too, is it's like, I guess at the hospital they gotta make sure those blinds are always closed.
Right.
So, but yeah, certainly interesting things.
So I guess Martha's kind of like a not quite as maybe a secretary or like assistant to Lionel is my understanding of kind of her role. So I guess maybe we'll be seeing more of her as Lionel's employee.
It's interesting though too, because there's this whole point too of what Martha does do about like, you should probably do this research instead of this whole campaign to restore consumer confidence. Maybe that'll do you better. So it's interesting though too, is that like maybe she'll end up being this big voice of good within Luthor Corps. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah, definitely some interesting bits as we get around here though.
And I liked this end scene with Clark and Lana.
Yeah,
Clark experimenting with reading poetry. We've gotten a lot of endings recently with them being like the final scene of an episode. In fact, I think the next episode too ends with them as well.
I think so too, because possibly, yeah. Before we do get to that next episode, do you have any other thoughts before we do move on to Superstar for it?
No, I think I've said everything. So
That's fair enough. I think I pretty much have as well. Welcome in, Tyrone, saying Lionel, Mr. Steal Your Wife. Steal Your Wife.
right, you know what? When Lionel smiled there at the end, I thought, is he happy to have like a woman in his life now? But it's like Martha's married Lionel because he kind, like I don't know. That's a good point.
We'll see. It adds some
Yeah.
interesting tension, and that does carry on into the next episode, though.
Very much,
which is interesting. Like, I do think these were a good, like, subtle two-parter with each other.
Yeah,
I
agree, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Lana plot that we discussed earlier.
Both Alana and the and a kind of a more so for me, what stood out to me is how the Martha plot specifically too, and so
yeah.
And that's the big reason why for the screen capture of this episode, I used the scene with her and Jonathan Kent sitting at a sitting down together from one of the episodes. I think it was actually from this episode.
Yeah.
And so just because I couldn't find a good picture of something else to use right offhand, so I was just like, oh, we haven't done with just those two characters, and these episodes were really big for Martha, to be fair, as well. So
yeah,
which is important as well. But yeah, we open up in Superstar.
Yeah.
Who is your superstar? I feel like
I think we're gonna be in agreement on this. I think I'm gonna go with Lana. Personally, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff with her. She was really the one that stood out to me as far like I definitely could say Martha. I think, but just like I said earlier, Lana is, she knows what she wants and her intentions are very clear. But Clark is in this weird predicament where it's not like he can just start telling everyone his secret. And anyway, and also too, like Lana finding, and more so maybe with this episode, her finding out stuff with like her family and I think especially when she finally has someone that's like showing her attention through love.
Yeah.
And she's trying to balance that. So
sure. Yeah. I would say for me, I would go with Martha because even though a lot of the things I'm going to say about Martha, I think also applies to this episode, it was honestly a Nocturne where they stood out to me more, which is why I'm going to pick her for Nocturne for me. Was actually being able to see her get to step out of a shadow and become something more, and really seeing her take this initiative. And at the end, like we were just talking about too, she had her sense too, where she brought into potentially bringing a sense of good into the Luther business. So I think there's, we really got to see Martha shine in a way that we haven't before, and it's a great setup for things that we continue to get to see as well.
Yeah.
Going into this next episode, and so that one just in particular really stood out to me. So I'm going Martha specifically for Nocturne though because of that. So
nice.
Yeah. And I kind of already talked about all other reasons too when we first got to that Martha conversation as well, like all those kind of as I said before. It's very much ditto for all those reasons,
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah,
I was gonna say that at the start of this episode, not doing a deep dive, but the actress that's Christy or something like that. For a very split second when she was looking down, I thought it was Alicia Silverstone. She looks kind of similar to her young at the time, but then I was like, that girl's a little bit younger than she was at this point. And then when we fully saw her, I was like, oh, that's not her. But I just for a split second, I was like, is that her?
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm trying to see. Chrissy Parker is her name.
Okay, I couldn't.
Yeah. This I think you mentioned it, but like this episode is very sudden. The thing with her character, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we got a bit of other things to get to first. Here is this little swimming competition where Clark gets to naturally compete in sports, unlike something like football, which works, and so I like seeing him there. I got the vibe from these two episodes that they just like showing shirtless guys in these episodes because you saw Byron like the episode, and then this episode you have all these swim people stuff going on. And so, you know,
It's to get the girls to watch. You know, they gotta
obviously, you know,
find
you
their
have
audience.
both
You know?
demographics, you know.
Yeah,
So,
right.
absolutely. So you see that, but the swimming competition happens, and who he's facing against, he starts suffering, and the next thing we know, he turns old and is just there.
It made me think of there was an episode I think it's season 1 where it's it was early in season 1. I forgot the title, but the guy that like sucks the life out of people.
Mm.
Remember? It made me think of
Oh,
this. It's a little bit different
sure.
concept. Was that Hourglass? I think it was Hourglass. I don't remember the
Well,
title, but it was
there's the guy, the cold dude that had to suck everyone or
right.
get everybody. I'm not gonna
Whoa.
suck their essence from everyone, or
Right,
like
and it
absorb their
kept it
essence. God, this is
yeah, so this made me think of that, kind of a similar
yeah, almost kind of like
that's gonna
that.
be a t-shirt right there.
God damn it. No, I will say though, I didn't catch the twist right away though, because they made
No.
it a good job of. I didn't think it looked like it was something from the water or something, and
Yeah, I didn't think it would be her, yeah.
not anything involving Chrissy, as we learn later on. And so I will give them
Yeah.
that, which isn't, you know, it is
Yeah,
interesting.
that was good.
Yeah, it was. So I
And
do
they
appreciate
have
that.
a new principal at school, so maybe the guy from a couple episodes ago wasn't the principal, or that
See,
guy just was
this
so bad he got
other
fired.
point I was going to bring up was
I
I
thought he was the principal.
no, I remember that too, because he was like, "Hey, come to my office,"
Yeah.
and then this new guy comes in,
So
and
I
they're
guess he
like,
got fired. Or a
"I don't
recast,
know,
I don't know.
I don't
But,
know." Interesting. The guy goes, "I don't
yeah.
know."
I was like, "What the
I'm
heck?"
curious about that too. I guess I'll find out.
Ian.
And I'm guessing this episode, because when that happened, I
Yeah.
remember when that other principal dude came up, Ian was
Mhm.
like, "That's the principal?" Now I understand his confusion there.
Yeah.
Because when
Yeah, because
we
I
saw
I was
him,
like,
that I thought back to was it last week when he came up? And I
you
was
know what? It
like,
was last week. Yeah, so it's
yeah.
only been, like, 2 episodes. Was that guy a principal for, like, a week?
Yeah, I don't know. That was I
Yeah.
thought about that too. I was like, was that other guy
'Cause
not
I
the
don't
principal? Did
remember
we lose something?
I don't
Because
I
I
don't know if we
remember
got
we
the guy's
both thought that.
yeah, and I don't think we got the guy's name, so I don't know if it's, like, the same character they just had to recast or if it is just a new principal.
You know, I want to do some
Um,
research here.
in fact, that actor, the principal, I know him from, Rocky 5. That I recognized him from that.
I haven't seen any of those movies. Trying to
I
make that
wonder
harder,
if
but
honestly, I wonder if I'm gonna go to IMDb and see if it doesn't say in the, like, the facts or the trivia, because I am curious now.
yeah, I'm trying
Eh,
to say, was it in
I feel like it was last week.
Principal Gibbons? Yeah, no, vice principal. That's the confusion. He was a vice principal.
Oh, okay. I thought
There we go.
okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Uh, he only has 2 appearances in the entire show, funny enough. The other one, and we didn't even talk about him
Mhm.
appearing then, was, in the episode Tempest in season 1.
Wow, I don't even remember him in that,
I
funny enough.
Right? Exactly. So,
He's gotta be, like, in the background somewhere, like, the hallway. Like, wow.
yeah, right. Anyway.
Okay, that makes a lot well, but what's funny, so then they didn't have a principal, though, at school for a little bit after Quam. So maybe that's why he referenced his office, because
Maybe.
I don't know if vice principals have, like, their own office, maybe they do,
It
but
does make
if they
me
didn't have a
curious.
principal until this guy, it's been a while since Quam was killed,
It makes me
so
curious how much of a timeline that they had established of when certain characters came in and out, you
yeah.
know? And when all these episodes were written, they were like, "Okay, it's at this point, this point, this point in
Mhm.
time." But then, like, certain points where they were doing character switches, like, it's not obviously explained, and thus
Yeah.
it brings up these questions like this. So I'm curious if they really do have, like, a solid timeline of when they were working on the show. They were like, "Okay, so, like, in between episodes 10 and 11, this
Mhm.
person came to the community and this happened, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of moving plot lines and stuff, but that makes a lot more sense though. So, and I
Uh,
gotta say, Martha is quite busy working with Lionel, and she's doing all this baking. She's got several new clients.
yeah,
She's keeping busy. So
yeah,
plus the produce that she sells from the farm. So I said she's working hard.
but maybe not hard enough, which is part of another plot line, which we can go ahead and
Yeah.
touch on here, where we've seen it multiple times throughout the series, but here they're like, well, these financial struggles is still
Mm,
rough for them. Things aren't going the way that they necessarily want it to go,
yeah.
and so but we'll go back to a bunch of school stuff here in a moment. But we do actually get to meet a pretty big character, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to remember his name because I am bad at names.
Grandpa. I'll look up. I'll go to IMDb and see if he. Let's see.
William, I think.
Yes, William Clark.
William Clark.
Clark Kent.
Maybe that's where it
Maybe
came
he's
from.
named after her. Maybe
Oh, this is interesting. I just clicked on the thing and it says he currently lives in Coast City, which is definitely a very notable.
Green Lantern.
As I say, if you know your DC lore, that is a important city in the world of
Now
DC.
I wonder how far that is from here because they mentioned that he drove a long way, but it's not like I'm guessing several
I think
hours.
it's California is where it usually is.
Dang, he drove a long, long way then. Without he
Yeah,
didn't decide to fly like this guy. He's well to do.
it is like on the coast, like it's in the name. So like anyway, yeah.
Well,
Um,
I'm gonna retire from the show now. Um,
yeah, it's obviously off the coast of the lake over there, right? Right.
yeah, well, I just I
I know.
wasn't thinking. Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah,
man, we're gonna cut
that's
this
cool.
out in the post show.
I'm pretty sure what I just looked up though wasn't supposed to be something that we know yet, but that's interesting though about Coast City. I like that detail there because Coast City, as you mentioned, is a big Green Lantern part of Green Lantern. Now I love me Green Lantern, and yeah, that reminds me of a Superman story that you need to read through, which is actually, have you ever seen Reign of the Superman, the movie,
I don't think
the
so. Is
animated
it
one?
animated?
Yeah, it's the animated one. They did a duology. They did Death of the Superman, and then Reign of the Superman, which is about like when all these other wannabe Supermans come up and like take Superman's part and the place in the world. And so
Oh, okay. I think it's on HBO Max. I know for sure
I would
Death
like for
is.
them to be. I recommend checking those out.
Okay.
Those are pretty good. Maybe if I wanted to, we could try to do a special episode where we like review
Yeah.
them or something. I don't know. But I genuinely really like those animated movies, and so the reason I bring that up is because there's a big plot point in Reign of the Superman, which I don't remember if it was Coast City in that movie or not, but it was Coast City in the comics, which is really big.
Okay.
So. And welcome in Castro. What's up, Castro? Good to see you.
Hey.
But yeah. Anyway, we meet William Clark. And I love it too, how it's like you can tell that there's you know uh
Tension.
tension
Yeah.
between him and Martha. And she's trying to go about it in a good way, but then they're just not on the same level. And then Clark
Mhm.
comes in and he's like, "Oh, you're my grandpa. Let me you're having me stay here, or at the very least have dinner and all this stuff." And Martha's like, maybe it's best we don't do that."
Yeah.
Or even he is too. Like they're both on the same page of like, this maybe isn't the best.
Yeah. But I'm like, that's crazy to drive all that way, be there for like 5 minutes, and then he's like, I can't do that. I'm out of here. Like that level of I don't want a pettiness, I guess you could say. But I know we don't know at this point in the episode the why, you know.
Don't know the why. Not yet, but we do learn that a bit later as we get, different
Mhm.
conversations and with Jonathan and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, since we were bringing it up, though, like, what did you think of that reasoning? Was it, like, was the reasoning
I
good for
I
you? Do you think they
I
could have done more with it?
No, I thought it was good. I had I've had family stuff like that before where there was stuff like that. So for me, it was like it made sense. Um, as to that being the why, and
Sure.
there being this like 20-year gap. And then I know we just as we're talking about this later in the episode, um, Jonathan mentioned that one of their fears too was that him finding out about Clark's abilities, since Clark couldn't control his abilities. What
Yeah.
would he maybe would have tried to report Clark or something, and so I definitely get it from, so
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. Um,
Mm.
so, I know we're kind of jumping around a bit, but I just want to make sure we mention some other stuff here. We talked about the principal a bit. How do you feel about this new principal? Now that we know they use
Well,
the principal here.
he is I respect him for kind of laying down the law, but it's also kind of a bit much. And
Like,
and he's definitely like just like picking out Clark and like saying all these things for him and all this stuff that we learn. It stems from him being friends with Lex, and this guy used to teach at the school that Lex went to.
Yeah,
I'm sure Lex was a peach of a student. Um,
just Peachy.
yeah, just a great student, Um, so maybe he thinks that Clark would just walk all over him as the principal, and maybe he thinks that the rules don't. He thinks that maybe Clark thinks the rules don't apply to him, so he's just from the get go saying, this is how it's going to go.
Sure, for sure.
But he definitely had some times where I was like, all right, dude, that's a bit much. Like,
No, I definitely get that vibe too of like where I pick up on. Not that I was ever in that position. I swear I was a good kid in high school. But
that's what
like
you have to say now.
you do.
Yeah.
But I do notice though where teachers or the superintendents do always focus on the same few kids because they know them as like the
Mhm.
troublemakers, and so like it is very much a natural thing to happen that they're just like always locked on to this one person in particular. They're like,
Yeah.
"There's all this stuff going on with you, so you better be better." And
Yeah.
so
It's like it's an unfair bias, It's
yeah.
unfair special treatment, Not even special
Yeah.
treatment, but
And
whatever.
interesting here too that he was just like waiting out there for him too, it seems like too. For for when Lex was just
Yeah.
doing a good job, doing his thing to bring Kirk to school. And so
Mhm.
um interesting though. It is interesting though, is it's like, do you ever think that with somebody with super speed will ever not be late to school? That's always a thing with super people with super speed, that they're never on time, ironically.
Right, yeah, it'd take Clark 2 seconds to run there, you know?
Because it's like I don't really think it's that many times where we've seen him be late. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
I am amazed so far that whenever I guess people don't hear, like, the whoosh, like, when he leaves quickly or arrives, because 'cause they're just like, later in the episode, he leaves quickly, and Chloe's just like, "Clark? Where'd he go?" But it's not like, "Did you
no,
not hear that whoosh? You didn't
it's
feel a
very much one of
breeze?"
those things. I think it was only for the viewers. Only we're supposed
Right.
to hear the whoosh.
Yeah.
We're special because we hear the whoosh. Nobody else does.
Yeah. It's like
Uh,
when a character's invisible and you can see him, but obviously the characters don't.
yeah. We had a pretty good plot line too with the torch in this episode as well, which I thought was good. Seeing more developments going on with the torch and why is
Mhm.
there Chloe doing her job there, and we got to, as we see later, her getting to, I don't remember if they did the interview or not with her interviewing the.
No, we never
No, we
got to
didn't get
see
to. I was
that.
about to say I don't think we did
Yeah.
get to see it, but um,
Conveniently enough, Clark is there and the principal shows up and is like, "I wanna talk with you."
it's like
I'm like,
and
"This
I
guy
don't
again."
and I don't want to talk with you.
Right. Too bad Clark couldn't super speed out of there, you know?
Right. And I like seeing Pete involved there too. I am enjoying more how ever since that big Pete episode that we brought up
Mhm.
in 2 or 3, don't remember which one that is.
Yeah.
How much
It's episode 3, I think.
yeah, what point is though, in these last 3 episodes that we've got to see though, he's just naturally more there, which is something that I've been wanting since season 1, so I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that season 2 has so far done a better job of that. So,
Mhm.
hoping for it does make a stronger season overall. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been enjoying, more Pete, so
Yeah, we need more Pete.
and we're very much getting the early hints of Clark being a journalist in the future,
We did get
because
a
we get the I don't think we'd ever seen it or mentioned it before, but he mentions that he's been writing kind of here and there for the Torch, even though it's the lunch menus, and then he ends up enjoying writing the essay by the end,
Yeah,
and
we took
even
it down.
hints the
Nice.
journalism there,
Yeah.
so it's kind of one of those on the nose things,
I did appreciate that little bit thing of where he's like, well, maybe there is something for me here with this whole writing
yeah,
deal. So I did like that as well.
and can he not he should have, like, speed thought so he could just speed write the essay and be done in 2 seconds, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if that works the same way. I don't know.
No, it probably doesn't.
I don't know.
It'd just be gibberish.
I mean, you might be able to like write things quickly, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, with this super speed though, could computers pick up the if you're typing that
Mm,
fast? If he was to type it, could he do it that fast? Does he have to
that is
slow
a
down
good
a little bit
question.
for it? I mean,
Probably.
obviously, computers can recognize a bunch of things quick, right? Like,
Yeah, maybe if it was more of a computer nowadays, maybe it could. I don't know.
well, I mean, like, think about this. So, like, if you're just holding down the A button, for one
Yeah.
second, how many A's are there? So it's like, does that translate at all when you're going, super quick tapping?
Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
you might need earplugs because I don't imagine, I mean, I know I have a clicky keyboard, and so like if you're hearing, all of a sudden, but like
Mhm.
really fast, like especially if you're be able to type well. Like I don't imagine Clark is a person that's able to type well. I imagine that he's one of those people that when he's there, at least at this point in life, he's probably goes
Mhm.
like poop, poop, poop
Yeah.
on the keyboard and not, full on typey yet as he may later on in life. But yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That'd be yeah, probably be pretty loud too, yeah. That's funny.
The loud
Heck,
type.
I don't type that well, or fast, I should say.
Sure.
Did you
That is
ever
the
have
funny thing,
when
though.
oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go on.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick, at your high school, was Spirit Week ever, like, a big deal? Or did y'all even have Spirit Week, or was it just, like, a day?
What is that? Because I don't
I
know if
don't
that's a
know.
thing that we okay, that's fair enough. So are you asking, like, if this plot point was, like, a made up thing? Is that what you're asking then?
Right, like, because I've seen it in movies and shows before, like,
Um,
in high schools where it's, like, you have your Spirit Week or something like that, but I'm like, is that a real thing for high schools? Or maybe it was more back then, I don't know. T
maybe it's just one of those things that, I feel like there used to be some events that high school would try to do. Okay, I remember my high school did try to do some weeks like this, like
Oh,
one a
okay.
year. But I remember it though because of being high school and this mentality of everybody thinking, "Oh, you're at that age where you're thinking you're better than everybody else." Almost
Hmm.
nobody kind of took part in it, or
Ah.
not really. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of people
Yeah,
really
oh, yeah, I get it, high
high
school,
high school is like, like if you did
yeah.
it in elementary school, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I want to do it." And middle school is kind of
Mhm.
like half and half, and then in high school, it's like most people don't care by that point. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the reasons because I was definitely in the mentality of I don't care. By the point
Yeah.
of high school, I was very much of I don't care about this stuff. I just kind of want to do my thing and get out of here.
Yeah. Because I
So
can remember when I went to elementary school, we'd have Spirit Day. So it was, like, just for the day, whatever, but, like, this whole idea of it being a whole week, I'm like, that I feel like that would get old after, like, a day or
the
2.
only things that I remember being special for me was like on a day of the week, it'd be like wearing something that'd be fun. Well,
Oh,
actually,
yeah, we'd have, like, pajama day. Yeah.
I do remember there was like a couple like fun days back in like elementary, but like yeah, nothing like that in high school though by any means though at all. So
Yeah, that's why for me I was kind of like that, like just for high school. But again, that's not this is
the only
Smallville's not the
fun
only
days in
show
high
that's
school is when
different.
you're a
But
senior in your last few days of the year where you don't have to do anything, but you still have to
right,
show up. So
yeah, maybe that they should make that Spirit Week.
right. Anyway, yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't really a thing though. But I also never really got that involved with any of the high school stuff. So, and that was kind of intentional on my part because I didn't like a lot of
But for
people.
me, it's like, and I think too, if you're not like into the sports side of things, like obviously like this Chrissy girl's a
True.
cheerleader, you're probably not going to care as much because
That's the
you're
thing. Almost all the school activities are sports related nowadays. So
right,
you're
and
right.
so most of the school probably doesn't care. I would, yeah, but
True.
it seems like it's a pretty big deal because they're using like the auditorium and everything, and um, so or the
Yeah.
theater or
Yeah. Yeah. Getting all those
stage,
cool
whatever.
events going on.
I
I would also just like to imagine that, the school systems 20 years ago was also a lot better than where they're at when we gotten through it. So we'll,
yeah, I
but-
that is most definitely true. I'm sure.
so and we'll just leave that conversation there and go back to what's going on in the world of Smallville.
Right. Yeah.
And so, getting as
Oh, that was another good scene right here with Clark and Lana
yeah,
talking about because she finds the photos of the guy with
yes,
her
and
mom.
this is where it comes up the plot point. Yes. And this
Yes.
was such an important thing too, where it's like interesting to see what was going on with Lana here, and she's like, and everyone's kind of dismissing her. I was like, yeah, I mean, just been a friend and all this stuff.
And I'm like, those pictures are not friend pictures, like for a guy and a girl. That's like
I like
relationship pictures.
yeah, right.
They're
Absolutely.
like, there was nothing about that was like, oh, we're just friends.
Yeah, good on Lana here to pursue the truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which good
Yeah.
for Lana.
And she's not afraid to ask now. She just gets right to it, you know?
She does get right to it, which I do appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
So I like saying that, and and she ends up asking like all getting all these other people's opinions, get more Lex
Mhm.
here, and yeah, interesting stuff. Trying to figure out what happened with the death. There's a bunch of things that go happen here as we
Oh,
go
Clark
through.
does his best to try to get his grandfather and Jonathan to try to talk, but they just can't. They just keep butting heads.
No, we very much do see how they just want to be. He wants the best for everyone. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
scene where Clark here goes into the principal's office and he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what do I do? And he's just like, you can first take a seat.
Right. Good boy Clark's never been in the principal's office before.
I know, right? I always feel
Maybe
uneasy
in elementary
whenever
school. I don't know.
to do
But
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And Lex even pays him a visit too, basically saying, "Don't take out your anger that's towards me on Clark or your spitefulness." Um,
Sure.
but did
Um,
we get an explanation now that I think about it with the Chrissy girl? Like, I don't know, was it explained on how through kissing the guys that she's able to get the youth? I don't remember if that was ever like explained.
I just kind of remember that plot point kind of coming out of nowhere. Like, obviously, we're looking at this
Yeah.
shot with the hand, and it's like now that we understand, it's like, oh, we get something's going on, and
Yeah, I mean, I assume obviously it's something with kryptonite, but I don't think we even got like, oh yeah, she
no, it's very much just there. Everything we assume
yeah.
now is linked to kryptonite because
Right,
you
yeah.
see it. Oh, it's for sure kryptonite the first 5-6 times. So then it's like, well, you just assume it's kryptonite now, right?
Yeah,
Surely, right? If it's not
yeah.
kryptonite, it's a flower. And there's
Right.
no flower.
And she is obsessed with, for some reason, with the high school years, claiming that's the best years of your life. I'm like, I think 99% of people would probably beg to differ. I understand the wanting to stay young, but like high school, like
I
I don't know.
very much appreciate the little bit more freedom that I get with my college stuff.
Right, I was gonna say,
Especially when
yeah.
in my time of community college was so much more chill than high school, which I enjoyed so much more,
Mhm.
you know? And so, like, that's probably what I prefer, I guess, the most. Obviously, now I'm at university level, which is a bit more work heavy, but, you know.
Yeah.
Yay. But,
But it just was funny, like, I don't know, just I don't know, it just seems like high school would not be what people would consider the best years of their life. But
yeah,
anyway,
true.
so
No, people always do say that of, like, enjoying it, and anytime that anyone ever asks me, "Hey, did you enjoy, did you did you enjoy school day?" I'm like, "No, I don't enjoy high school. I don't know what you mean. I never really enjoyed it. I never
yeah.
it was never my thing."
And it seems like with how many years she's sucking out of their lives, you think the effect would last longer than, like, a few days. Because, like, the dude literally aged older than he probably would have lived anyway. I mean, he's, like, a
Yeah.
mummified at that point,
Eh,
and
I do think your point of, like, them not really having a moment to explain it
yeah,
does if they
it
figured
definitely
out a way
hurts
to
that
do
one.
it, it would've helped it, I think.
I
So now that
agree.
we're dissecting it, we're like, there's
Yeah.
questions here that we have other than you know, and we've seen multiple times how we have these characters that need to feed, like we were talking about the guy with
Mhm.
the cold dude needing people's heat, or
Yeah.
the episode where I got to see what's her name, the famous now actress,
Oh, Amy Adams?
Amy Adams eating people. You know, like we've seen this multiple times, and in
Mhm.
this case too, we didn't really get a reason to like sympathize with them either, or with her either. It's just very
Right,
much
yeah.
oh, it's framed very much more villainy and not really any reason of, "Hey, this is why I should
Mhm.
like you." Just doing it to be young.
Yeah. Clark
Uh,
needs to know now, whenever a student just randomly transfers in, it's for a reason. There's something going on that's weird there, 'cause like, almost every time a student transfers in, like,
yeah.
middle of the school year, it's because 'cause they're gonna be, like, the villain of the week or the freak of the week.
Yeah, and you think, "Hey, whenever somebody comes into a small town that's called Smallville, maybe you see if there's something up there." You gotta do a good thorough background check to anybody that moves into
Yeah.
Smallville, you know? Make sure, nobody has any weird dungeons in their houses.
Right.
Make sure that, nobody's touched any crystals recently.
Yeah.
Watch them closely for a week to make sure that you don't do anything weird. Yeah, there's a
Well,
bunch
and
of
I
checks here that they should be doing that they just don't.
yeah. I forgot, how does Clark make her turn really old? He, like I forgot what it was. Because she, like, gets was it she, like, fell, like, into the light or something? Because she hits the principal and, like, knocks him out, and then Clark like, if she starts to age well, you know what it was? He doesn't even do anything, she just, like, instantly starts to age fast, but it was like, how?
It was weird. Like
I
there's
don't remember.
definitely things where it just didn't really explain
Yeah,
because we're at this whole flashy stage scene that you're talking about, and
yeah.
she kind of just appears and is old. So it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, because you see the principal, but I'm trying to remember what
And
he
there is this
does.
point too where you're seeing her over this body where I guess she's about to do it, but then doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say that prosthetic of her old looked kind of funny because like, her face gets bigger for some reason, like, just gradually gets bigger. Um,
Yeah.
but I just thought it was fun. What I think is funny is because it wasn't explained how the effect fully works, like, we know it turns her young, but it's like, in this instance, it's like it just doesn't last. And it's like, I would think it would be something where, like, not necessarily where it's a one-to-one with okay, that's where what he pushes her, okay. Where I'm not saying that, like, for every year that she sucks life out of that, that would translate to where she has to wait, but, like, you would think it would last more than a few days.
What about this cube
But
shot too? Every
oh,
time
yeah,
you
I
see
thought that
her,
was
she gets
funny, and
older and older.
like, good grief, she's, like, 200 years old, so maybe that's why it doesn't last as long. I thought that was funny, this shot, because it looks like an unfinished visual effects shot.
Oh yeah, it does.
Um, but I get it, they're having to, basically disintegrate her body, but anyway, I would say that was really only one critique of the episode. Nothing with just with her character, it's just she was just kinda there.
And
I
it
feel like the
almost
main
kind of
plot line was
sudden,
the
you know?
granddad. Yeah. The main thing was really the granddad and the family dynamic for me. So that's what
Yeah,
I
I
was
agree.
really paying attention more to. Um,
Yeah, and getting
but
and the principal plot line here too, you know?
yeah. I guess he's okay. I assume he wasn't killed by the
They very much
thing.
were trying to frame him as the villain, even though he wasn't.
Right.
Was a vibe that I got during this too.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, there's this research that what's her name? Chloe was doing and figuring out stuff about
Mhm.
Chrissy, and then it was like, oh, this last fourth of the episode, now she's the villain. Wait, what? Okay.
Right.
Pretty much how that was.
Yeah.
And then at the end here, we do get this big part, which we were referring to earlier, where Lana's like, wait, maybe my this guy, the data on these pictures are taken, maybe this guy could actually be my father and he's still alive, which is quite the big, exciting and reveal.
Yeah. That's gonna be something neat to figure out.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't take
With
too
her.
long to get to because I want to see what's going to happen
I'm
with
thinking by next episode she'll probably be trying to track him down with Chloe. Um
fingers crossed, right?
Oh, I like Chloe's line when she was showing Clark the girl, Chrissy. She says, you know, her friend at like the ME that she has. She said because he's like the one. She mentions that he's the one like goth kid in Smallville, and she's like, "It pays to share your mascara." Or she mentioned something like that. I just thought that was funny, but
Yeah,
definitely going to enjoy this plot line with Lana and everything. So it's a good. This is a good setup episode. So I liked that.
for sure. Definitely. Um, yeah, I think both these episodes, despite them not being either the best episodes, they were still. Well, I think Nocturne was a better episode than this one. Like, I didn't quite have his big problems as you were talking about this power thing kind of coming out of nowhere. Like, I mean, this
Yeah.
episode still did important things,
Right.
but like, it definitely could have been refined a bit, I think. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, um, even though they're still solid, they were still worth a watch. So,
Hmm.
anything else about this episode that you have in particular to talk about?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job of covering everything.
Yeah. Who is your superstar for Redux? Redo.
Ooh, this is tough because I want to say Clark. Um, and you know, I'm gonna go with Clark just because he's doing his best to bring his family together. I mean, he just finds out about his granddad, and he even pays a visit to him at his hotel, and tries to show him pictures, and his granddad just has like no interest. He's just like, "Here's a check,"
Sure.
but um Clark care that shows how much Clark cares for people, and I know obviously it's his granddad, but, like, he doesn't know him. He didn't even he wouldn't recognize
Yeah.
him, and so, um, yeah, probably Clark just from the family
It's a really
standpoint.
good, it's a really good answer, even though it is the easy answer. But
Right, I was gonna say it's the easy one, but I gotta go with it.
I think it's a good pick for this episode though, in particular though. So I don't blame you at all for that one. This one for me is a bit harder to pick one.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, when you're not going with Clark though, because obviously there's that is, as you said, the easy answer. And I think it's one of those reasons because there is a lot of people do different things, and I'm not sure any one of those stand out in particular to me the most. You know what I mean? Of like, um, I mean, Luther has his own stuff going on here, but I don't know, like that really stood out, or uh, yeah, I don't know. I will actually. I'll go with Lana, even though her scenes were brief in this. I did really like what was going on with her in this episode, and she really did like stick up for herself and having to. Uh, she really, everyone was like, "There's don't these pictures. It's just fine. Everybody was blowing her off, but she did her own investigative research here, which I think is worth the appreciation.
Mhm.
So I do like that. So good stuff.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, that big reveal. It's a big exciting reveal. So good stuff for sure. I think that's going to do it though for these episodes of Smallville. The next two that we're covering is Lineage Ryan. Okay.
Ryan is. Ooh, that's the first one that's like the name of a person, I think.
Yeah, it is interesting. We'll learn exactly who Ryan is next week. Same super time, same super channel here on the Dingus Den at 9 p.m. Eastern. But until then, what do you have coming out this next week for people to check out?
Yeah, tomorrow night on Cam and Focus, we'll be going live at 9 p.m. Eastern to discuss the movie Cape Fear, directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Robert De Niro. We've heard good things about it, and I think the next week, I'm not 100% sure. I think we're gonna do like a Robert Duvall episode since he just passed. Maybe make that like a topic episode, like maybe talking about like our favorite roles of his, stuff like that. I'll have to talk with Cam about that.
I like that. I like that idea. I haven't seen a
Yeah,
lot of his movies, but one of his movies in particular is a family favorite or family like
is it
overall
Secondhand
family.
Lions?
Yeah, my family likes
Oh
it.
yeah, I love that movie. It's great.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember it being really good though. So
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
heard on the DVD there's an alternate ending to it, which I've never seen, so I gotta check that out.
Yeah. If you all
But
do that, if it does actually happen next
yeah,
weekend, if things are planned as they're supposed to be, I won't
mhm,
be present for it, but I
mhm,
might like write in something for one of you want to mention or
sure,
something. So we'll see.
yeah,
Because that's the main role I know of him. I haven't seen his other big stuff like really stands out to me.
oh.
I haven't really
You
seen
never
anything.
seen Godfather?
I've seen the first one a long time ago. I need to rewatch
Ah,
it. Like
yeah.
when I say a long time ago, like 4-ish years ago,
I know
5-ish
what you
years
mean, and,
ago.
long enough
And
that, like,
so
you can't remember everything. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, I got a really good deal on the like that Coppola trilogy for like
Mhm,
12-13 bucks for all three on
nice.
Blu-ray once. I was like, steal. I was so happy about it because when I first watched it, I
Mhm,
we'll just say I did something akin to not quite the same thing, but similar to Michael's Russian site. And it
interest
didn't have the subtitles properly on that. So
Ah, oh, that's tough.
yeah. So yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah, and then, Monday night on the Feast of Phantoms YouTube channel, we'll be going live for MCU Mondays at, 9:30 Eastern. We are finishing off our Wonder Man reviews, the last 2 episodes. It's been a great, show.
I'm slacking on it. I need to catch up on
It's
it.
you know
That's
what?
cool.
It's good. I would say I've been watching it weekly just because of all the shows I do and stuff I watch, but
Yeah.
it's a good show. I think if Marvel does more of these, like, self-contained series,
Yeah.
that'd be a good thing because it's very self-contained.
Yeah.
Not, and so although I've enjoyed the Disney Plus series more than I haven't, um, as
Okay.
I'd say it's
Sure.
but and then Thursday night on the Cantina Happy Hour, um, we just did the Mortis arc this previous week, which is
Mhm.
really, really good. And I believe this next set of episodes is the Citadel arc, I think is what we're
Oh
doing.
yeah. Okay. I remember that one.
And
If Ian
so
was here, he'd know the exact episode
oh, he would
numbers,
know
but
he
we
would know
don't
the
know that.
episodes, he would know the
Uh,
runtime, he would know he probably know the quote that the episode opens up with. Um,
yes.
so
That's cool
yeah, that's
stuff.
all I got. Yeah.
When you're talking about Wonder Man, it reminded me that my prediction for the year going in, because
Mhm,
as far as I can remember, Marvel has 4 live action projects coming out, like MCU
mhm.
projects coming out this year. Wonder Man was one of them, and then there's obviously Spider-Man and Doomsday, but then there's also the Punisher
Yeah.
special coming out. And it's funny you're talking about the Disney Plus things being stronger overall. Is that my prediction going into the year is that Punisher would end up being the best made story of all that. So
You know
we'll
what?
see.
I could see it.
Yeah, I think Punisher is going to surprise people, and especially too. I'm glad that
Oh,
they are
Daredevil
doing.
Born Again season 2 is gonna
Oh,
be coming
I
out.
forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's better than season 1. I wasn't actually a fan of season 1, so
Oh,
uh,
I'm out of here. I'm kidding.
I know.
I've been reading the Born Again comic actually. It's pretty good.
I've read that one. That may have been what? Wait, is Born Again? No, I haven't read Born Again. I need to read Born Again. That's one of the ones I need to
Yeah, I
read.
need to finish it up, but it's good.
I need to. I need to read it. That's cool though. Yeah. Anyway, on the Dingus Den, tomorrow, make sure you check out at 6 p.m. Eastern. Me and Steve will be live for the Comic Den, where we talk about all the big news that has come out from Comics Pro, where we talk about a bunch of big comic news that have come out over the last few days. There's some stuff I'm very excited to get into, such as, actually, I think the thing I'm most excited for, I have it on the thumbnail, is, they've been doing all these absolute titles. They just announced what is going to be Absolute Green Arrow in its own 6-issue miniseries. And what they're doing with that book looks amazing. I cannot wait for what they're doing with Absolute Green Arrow. So,
nice.
want to know exactly what they're doing now with Absolute Green Arrow? Tune in tomorrow here in the Dingus Den. Also, throughout the week, you can also, I am going to drop both the videos for Transformers Volume 4, which wraps up the Daniel Warren Johnson arc, and then of the Skybound Transformers, and then also make sure you check out the video of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries written by Chris Claremont, which both of those were videos I recorded last week, but I was just so busy this week where I haven't gotten around to putting those out yet. So you can check out both of those next week, as well as this new Comic Den episode. So make sure you check that out, everybody. Oh, you know what? I might end up having another video next week too, actually. I forget. I'm recording another video that I will want out sooner than later. So there might actually end up being 3 videos next week. So we'll see. There will be a bunch of stuff coming out, though. So we will not have to wait on stuff coming from the Dingus Den here. So, but yeah, without further ado, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Before the Cape. Thank you for being here always, Andrew. Always fun chatting with you.
Yeah.
And next week, we'll be talking about Lineage and Ryan. What's up with Ryan's lineage, and are those probably not related at all in that way? Probably not, but we'll get into it.
Who knows?
Next week. Find out. Same super time, same super channel. Laters, everybody.